Okay. All right, we're good. So Matt, you can hear me? You doing okay?
Yes, I can hear just fine.
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll just jump right into it. Thanks for spending some time. I hope you're feeling better. By the way, I know last week you were a little under the weather.
Yeah, I'm feeling well. Everything couldn't be any better.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're happy to be joined right now by Matt Kalis, the president and co-founder of DraftKings. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Good to have you on. I want to talk about obviously what you guys are doing here in Colorado, but just generally first with the COVID-19 pandemic. Curious how you guys are holding up during COVID-19 and kind of what's happened with the betting and the player scene during the pandemic.
DraftKings is doing really well during the pandemic. Believe it or not, we went public at the very start of it. DraftKings is now publicly traded on the Nasdaq. Since then, we've really, I think, tried to navigate through all the changes to sports schedules and try to put together a contextual offering for our customers that even if the sports schedules were different and a little thinner back in April, May, we were putting out whatever was out there to keep our customers engaged and happy and with something to do during a really difficult time. And so now that some of the mainstream sports are back, like NBA, NFL, I think all that pent up demand over the summer really has resulted in some unprecedented engagement, though, in DraftKings over the last few months. So it's been very exciting.
It is interesting to see which industries have gone up and certainly so many have gone down as people have a lot more time on their hands and a lot more time with their screens. So the mobile sportsbook app that you guys launched here in Colorado in May is just one of a lot of things that are happening with DraftKings here in Colorado. What made the Centennial State a unique state for you guys, a desired state for you guys?
Colorado's been a great market for DraftKings, even going back 8 years ago to when we first launched our daily fantasy sports product. We always had a really, really strong, presence in Colorado. It really over-indexed. I think it's a really great sports state. Some fantastic teams, Broncos, Nuggets that are tremendously followed, and it was always just like a great fit. I think the DraftKings offering in Colorado. So once sports betting opened up, we really wanted to be first to market. We wanted to make sure we made a splash. And we've had a really, really strong first, handful of months. We're number one in the market. It's been a really warm reception for us, and we look forward to building on that early success.
And recently, you guys announced a partnership with the Colorado Rockies in Denver as the official sports betting partner of the Rockies. And it's the first one for the Colorado Rockies in their history. What can you tell us about how that partnership came about? I'm interested.
Yeah, DraftKings, we're always looking for relationships with leagues and teams in markets that are important to us, especially the newer sports betting markets. Colorado's no different. So really excited to forge this partnership with the Rockies. It'll be, I think, a really deep partnership. You'll see DraftKings everywhere around the team. We're doing a digital content series, including some of the players from the team. So it'll be a really, I think, deep partnership over time that DraftKings and the Rockies will really hand in hand help grow and build awareness of sports betting in Colorado as the market emerges.
Matt, what is fascinating to me is being a huge sports fan and going back to the days of fantasy football and fantasy sports before DFS existed. When DraftKings came out, when FanDuel came out, there was litigation at the top level about whether or not it was legal. A lot of people said this is not going to last, and there were challenges in the highest courts, New York specifically. And now we're to a point where you guys are actually partnering with professional teams, and the landscape has changed so much. What stands out to you about that progression since you guys founded in 2012?
Yeah, I think DraftKings unquestionably has changed the landscape as a sports fan. The things 10 years ago that you were doing were so different than what you can do now. Like maybe you were playing a season-long league on
Yahoo
ESPN, or you were
Baseball,
doing
man. That's what it was. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And now, daily fantasy sports has, millions and millions and millions of players coming on, drafting 1 day or 1 week lineups, competing against, sports fans throughout the country for $1 million top prizes day in, day out. And sports betting really has rapidly, since, 2 years ago when it first PASPA was overturned in the Supreme Court and it opened up in New Jersey. Since then, now we're in 8 markets. It's just going to keep expanding, I think, at a pretty rapid clip over the next few years. And so it's a great time to be a sports fan in the US. I think the voice has really been heard, and the desire to have skin in the game, not just sit there and watch, but predict things, be a part of the game. That desire that millions of fans have, I think, is really starting to liberalize and come to life.
Most recently, in terms of our most recent news, you guys actually opened a retail sports book at Black Hawk Casino, at Mardi Gras Casino in Black Hawk, Colorado. What's the goal with that move in terms of having the actual retail sports books in person?
Yeah, DraftKings does both. So the predominance of our business is really the digital platform. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app from anywhere in Colorado, register an account from your phone, make a deposit and play right away. But we do have a pretty substantial audience of people who really prefer that retail experience. They maybe want to bet in cash, hold a physical ticket, be able to collect your winnings immediately at the property. Some people love the experience of going out to a kind of sports bar-like experience to watch the game and sweat their bets. And so both, DraftKings does both. We want to make sure we're serving both audiences.
What's been the most difficult part of building DraftKings since you guys launched in 2012?
I think it's hard to build something at the scale that we're at as quickly as we have and do it well. DraftKings started off 8 years ago. We had a handful of customers, under 10 employees when we launched. Now the company has over 2,000 employees. We operate, multiple different products, sports betting, iGaming, daily fantasy sports, retail sports books. We're investing heavily in customer acquisition in a bunch of different markets that all have different products available. So really just building the scale of an organization that quickly can be very, very difficult. We're fortunate to have an awesome team. DraftKings really has some of the top talent in the country when it comes to real money gaming. And I think, the caliber of the team has really helped us stand apart and become, the best at what we do in the country.
I have to imagine the explosion. I mean, I think back to 2012, social media was kind of a thing, but hadn't quite taken off. I have to imagine everything sort of being on your phone in real time with social media has to have been sort of a really a match made in heaven for you guys in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, technology is always changing. We're trying to stay up. I mean, I think what really helps is being such a modern technology first company. All of our tech was built in the last handful of years, really. So everything's very fresh, very modern, using the latest technology. So we're able to go to market really quickly, get the best products out there, reach our audience wherever they are. And I think that's a big advantage over maybe some older organizations that have some more dated tech, who are trying to stay up with the times. DraftKings is really, I think, in a very strong position on that front.
I should say, in full disclosure, and probably should have said this at the start, you guys advertise everywhere. We certainly do carry some DraftKings advertising on our station. And Matt, from time to time, we get calls from viewers. We get messages from viewers that object to the amount of gambling advertising and the visible presence and sort of hyper promotion of gambling. What's your response to sort of that sector in general, and what are things that you guys do, if any? Do you do anything to sort of address that part of DraftKings?
Yeah, it's a unique time. I mean, the market for sports betting has just opened up in the last couple months. Yeah. So a lot of products have just launched in the market. It's also seasonally a really popular time for people to play this product. The start of NFL season is every year the highest engagement by far. And so it's a time when, operators, I think, are going to be advertising a little bit more heavily. There's other times where I won't think, the weight will be so heavy. And so I understand. I think hopefully the Colorado residents feel like the wait is reasonable, and over time, especially after football kind of subsides these first few weeks, and the weights come down, hopefully it will feel very reasonable to everyone. We certainly want to be responsible on that front. DraftKings has, we believe, the best of breed responsible gaming program in place. We try to keep our advertising weight very reasonable. We have lots of different protections for customers on the site, whether it's, limits on the amount that you deposit, the amount of time you spend on the site. All of that is customizable by all of our customers. And so we really want to make sure that, we're being a very responsible operator now that the regulated market has come to life. And that's something that we think we do better than maybe like an illegal offshore book would ever, do in this country.
And a couple more as we move to finish. I know you guys got a lot of things going on. In terms of the sports betting specifically, obviously it was a huge question in terms of would there be any danger with sports and athletes themselves and that partnership, in other words, between actual athletes and people involved with the teams on DFS. Is that what part of the conversation was that when you guys look at a partnership with someone like the Rockies?
I think that's what's great about sports betting being a regulated industry. DraftKings only operates in regulated markets. There's tremendous oversight over everything being offered. We're only offering the leagues and the games that have the utmost integrity. And I think the oversight that regulators provide really ensure that incidents don't occur. So it's something that DraftKings really, I think, will always do. We'll always only operate in regulated markets that have great oversight. We'll only operate products that have tremendous integrity around the league. And that's our way of protecting consumers and their experience when playing.
Can you tell us about any further plans for what you guys have planned here in Colorado, or what you'd like to see happen here in Colorado specifically?
Well, we haven't even been operating a full year yet in Colorado. So I think
I'm ready to go, man. I'm pushing things.
Yeah, what will be interesting will be, as the sports schedule normalizes out, as everything comes back online, everybody has their favorite sport. So we're going to go out, try to make sure that we have the best offering across the board, the best promotions, really just try to stand out as giving the best experience to everyone who's giving a try to this new market that's just opened up recently, and just take it day by day, try to learn from, the early users who have adopted and given us loyalty, and build from there. So look forward to just proceeding over the next few months, collecting more feedback and iterating on what we bring to the table.
President of DraftKings, Matt Kalish. Matt, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.